Check, 1, 2, check. Testing, 1, 2, check, 1, 2. Hello, good morning. No. Hello, everyone. If you haven't figured it out by now, we have a couple of little snacks for you. We've got some water, you've got lemonade, chips, and cookies, I think. So not very nutritious if you haven't had lunch. So we're just giving it a couple of seconds. People are out there trying to find a parking spot. Okay. All right, good afternoon, everybody. Let's get started. Thank you for coming out. I can promise you it's going to be exciting. This is definitely something new that we have. It's a new benefit that we're offering now that we just started this year. I wanted to go over a couple of things with you before I turn it over to the training, and I promised Reagan that I wouldn't take very much time. All right, so I'm going to try to keep that promise. But there's a couple of things I wanted to kind of go over with you all. One is some of the changes, couple of changes we're going to do. So we're always trying to get better at what we do here. And one thing that's really important to me is communication with you all as our members. Now, unfortunately, we have a lot of people that say that they've blocked our newsletters. And that might be because maybe traditionally in the past, what's all in there, a lot of times we have a lot of these events, social events going on, and maybe you all kind of feel like, well, I don't need to look and see what's in there. But there's a lot of important information that we're putting in there now because I'm big on education. So we're going to try something different. We're going to split the newsletter. So we're going to have the regular newsletter that used to go out on Mondays is going to go out on Fridays. That newsletter will basically have all the events that are coming up, like if there's tree pack events, WCR events, that type of thing. Then we're going to have what we're calling Gephardt for You. That's going to be all that's business related to you. So we're not going to mix it anymore, and that's going to go out on Wednesdays. So if you see anything on the Wednesday newsletter, it's everything that addresses our profession and your profession. And that could be any training that we're having. A lot of times I get a lot of articles from NAR or Texas Realtors that a lot of times you all don't have time to go look at the websites in NAR or the Texas Realtors, but there's pertinent information in there, so when I get it, I immediately and the team look at it and say, wait, this is important for them to know. So that's when we'll just pull that one article and put it in there in that newsletter on Wednesdays. So that's going to be important for you. So hopefully that helps by separating them a little bit so you can get more and more engaged on what we are doing for you. You know, what is your association doing for you? Part of what we do, obviously, is a big benefit is the MLS. So the multiple listing service is obviously critical to your job, right, and what you do. But part of the benefits is the systems or the different programs that integrate with the MLS. One of them is going to be what you're going to hear about, the training, what you hear about, you're here for today with Real Reports. That's something new that we're bringing to you as a benefit. But the other ones are like the Cloud CMA, the Remind, the RPRs. So when it comes to training, and this is where I've gotten together with Reagan, is we'll do in-person training like what we're doing today. But the other is our vendors actually do a lot of webinar trainings. So what we're going to do is Reagan is putting together a calendar that's going to be out there so that you can see when RPR, Cloud CMA, is actually doing a webinar training. So this way we'll market that, and that'll be on the Wednesday newsletter to help you all to say, hey, wait, there's going to be a training on this, there's going to be a training on that, and you want to brush up your skills, or maybe you're not using it. Because one thing that we've noticed, even with the MLS, and we're going to do additional training again, even with the Flex MLS system, because there's also changes that are occurring with that every day, all the time also. So what we want to do is we notice that when we watch a lot of y'all or you come in, that maybe you're using each of the programs, whether it's the MLS or any of the programs that integrate, at maybe half of its capacity of what it can really do for you. That's what we're going to help you with the real reports like today. I mean, the vendor did 2 webinars to introduce it, but it was kind of a lot of information in a short period of time. So we knew that I'm a firm believer in in-person training. I think you get more out of it myself. That's just the way I am. So this is what we want to do for you. The other thing that's really important for me and the team here is your feedback. Let us know what's working. Let us know what you think is not working. Let us know, is there something out there that you like that maybe you say, hey, how come we don't look at doing something like that? But I'm going to tell you right now, the integration now and the evolution of the MLS and everything that you're using is changing rapidly. And a lot has to do with AI. And I know a lot of you have heard about AI, but let me tell you, AI is pretty cool, but we need to learn how to use it to our advantage. But we're constantly out there looking at different programs that are coming on board and that are introducing that help you be even more efficient at what you do. I mean, that's our mission here, is to help you be more successful at what you do. And the way we do it is through those benefits, and that's bringing you the tools that you need to make you more successful. But the tools do us no good if we don't know how to use them. So that's the part that I really want to focus on, and Reagan's here to help us focus on, is the training on those tools, all right? So, what else? So your feedback's important. I do want to talk about one last thing that's been going on back and forth, a lot of chats going on about it, and that's the increase in the MLS dues that just took effect this second quarter. So a lot of people are asking, why? Why is it going up? And we did a short video to try to do it, but still people are saying, well, okay, you mentioned inflation, all that, which is true. It has a lot to do with it. I mean, the last increase in the MLS dues was in 2017. And I'm going to tell you, just like we know just at home with our own expenses, since 2017, our expenses have gone up a bit, no doubt, to today. Well, it's no different in our industry. Things are getting more expensive. Rent, we don't have rent, thank God. That helps us keep the dues down. But utilities, these softwares that we want to integrate, if we want these tools, these new bells and whistles that are really going to help you be more successful, and in turn, when I say more successful, make you more money, because that's what it's about. Because then you can compare and say, okay, I pay $1,200 a year for everything related to MLS, dues, and all that, but I'm selling 10 houses a year now. I'm doubling what I used to do. And hopefully these programs and what we're offering you is helping you do that. That's when you can say, hey, it's worth it. It's worth the investment. But that we wouldn't do it if we didn't think it was worth the investment. But you all have to use the tools, and we're trying to do everything we can to help you do that. And if there's other ways that you think that we could reach out to you, then let us know, and we'll work with you. Because I always say this is your association. So with the dues increase, there was a lot of talk about it, that, oh man, $10 a month. No, it's $10 a quarter. So it's $3.33 a month is what it went up. But you got to remember, everything goes up. We have staff here too that we got to pay for, and it's just like, do you all want to increase your salary, or you want to stay your salary the same for 10, 15 years? And it's not just the salaries, but it's also any benefits. Benefits have gone up. So everything goes up. But here's what I promise to do, and it's not just me, it's your board of directors that you elect. It's the Gephardt board of directors and your MLS board of directors. We're constantly looking at ways we don't want to increase dues. So how do I do that? Well, one is we're looking at, when it comes to MLS, we look at data share agreements. We're looking at how can we get more involved in getting stuff like what we call non-dues revenue. So how many of y'all on the dashboard, how many of y'all see the banner ads now when you go on your dashboard, right? And you see we have different vendors, right, that are advertising. Well, we're able to charge for that. So when we can bring in that revenue, that helps us keep our dues down. So I'm trying to find different ways to keep up with the expenses, because we need more revenue, but not have to go to the members, right? So I promise you I'm trying to do that. The other is affiliates. We've really increased the number of affiliates that are members now. That helps us keep the dues down. And our affiliates are incredible because, not just because they pay the annual dues, but what they do for us as sponsors. I mean, all these events that we have, they come in and they sponsor it. The other thing I love the most about it is I always refer to our membership as a family, and that includes agents, brokers, and affiliates, because we're all here to help each other. That's what we're here to do. And those affiliates, whether they're in mortgage or home inspections or title companies, they're here to help you be more successful. You know, it's a full circle. If you're more successful, do you think they're more successful at what they do? Absolutely. If you increase your closings, do they increase their closings and all the work that they do? Absolutely. So it's in everybody's best interest to help each other. But I do want to tell you, I promise you, I'm always looking to keep the dues down in any way we can. You know, one thing that's great for us is this building's paid off, so we don't have to pay a mortgage. That helps us a lot. And let me tell you, when we talk about dues, the price of the dues, believe it or not, is part of the benefit that you receive. You know, when you pay your annual benefits, $84 is what the amount is to GEPAR. $84 a year. Now, do you think we could survive on $84 a year with all our expenses here? There's no way. There's a lot of things that have to go into place to accumulate it so it's not just dues. And that means me keeping expenses down and me trying to find other means of revenue outside of raising dues. So I can promise you I'll continue to do that, all right? Any questions on that? Because a lot has been going on, chat back and forth, and I really want to be totally transparent with you all. Does anybody have any questions on it? Okay, hopefully y'all can see where we're coming from, but I want to make sure that we're here to make you more successful. Anything I do is because, hey, in return, wow, I'm making more money. That's the key, is you're making more money. And I promise you with a lot of these things that we're integrating with MLS is going to help you do that. The things with AI is incredible that's coming up, okay? So we're gonna have, and you're gonna see a lot what AI does with Real Reports, and you're gonna see other things that we're looking out there that even help you be more efficient, even when we're talking about entering a listing into the MLS, where if it takes you normally 30, 45 minutes, it can be done in 10 to 15 because there's something out there called Respi AI that actually will do it from photographs. Once you put your photographs in, it goes in there and writes everything up. You just go through and edit. So there's a lot of things we're looking at, but remember, it does cost money too. These aren't for free. So with that, I don't know if I kept it short enough. So at this time, I want to introduce Reagan Kestner. He's our MLS director and also IT director. Mr. Kestner, you have the floor.
All right. Okay, starting off, we've got to go through the antitrust statement. Greater El Paso Association of Realtors meetings focus on promoting the interests of real estate professionals and consumers, fostering competition and sharing best practices. Discussion topics that violate antitrust laws are strictly prohibited. Meeting conduct statement, Greater El Paso Association of Realtors is committed to providing a positive and rewarding experience for everyone associated with its events. There will be zero tolerance of any inappropriate behavior, including or discrimination of any kind. Meeting participants will act professionally, will use good judgment, and always be respectful. Please remember that. For starters, we've already had 2 webinars on Real Reports. Raise your hand if you were at the webinars or watched the recording of them. Okay, so that gives me a pretty good idea of where to start off. Considering I saw very few hands raised, we're going to start off on how to get to Real Reports and what it is. So Real Reports is a brand new tool we got this year. It markets itself as the Carfax of homes. What it does is it combines MLS information and public information and then puts an AI layer on top of that to help distribute the information. It's got a lot of cool features. A lot of it you will see and be like, oh, this is on RPR, this is on Remind, stuff like that. The thing that separates Real Reports, in our opinion, is the AI layer on top of that public information. So there's 3 main ways to access it. When you log into the MLS, everyone should be familiar with this MLS dashboard right here. If you just go down here and click on Real Reports, it will log you in via single sign-on. You don't need to remember any extra accounts, anything like that. And it'll take you to your dashboard. Next is when you're on FlexMLS proper, click Menu up here, scroll down to Products, and then Real Reports right here. And if anyone in the back can't see the mouse, let me know. I can make it take up approximately 25% of the screen. So other than that, you can look up any listing. And this should, yep, this was just added. Click More on the listing report. Go down and click Real Reports. The benefit there is if you're trying to run a real report, it will automatically input that listing for you, so you can generate it without having to put in any listing information. So, I'm gonna be talking about this a few times. As you can see, there's 3 different levels of real reports. There's snapshot, buyer reports, and seller reports. Part of our integration with them is every member of the MLS has an unlimited amount of snapshot reports, and then everyone gets 33% off of buyer and seller reports. The snapshot reports are going to include a lot of the public information, and they're a great tool, especially if you're working with buyers or anyone who they don't want just the printed information on the MLS. They want an AI bot that they can say, hey, how many bedrooms is this? How many bathrooms? How many square feet? Instead of looking through the giant report, you can share those snapshot reports with your clients. So you have a whole list of showings, run a report for each of them, send a list to your clients. It's no cost to you, and they've got that tool. Not to mention it makes you look better that you've got access to the tool for them. Buyer reports is one of the upgrades that I'm gonna pitch a little bit during this, mainly because it's one of the big reasons we adopted Real Reports. I'll talk about it later, but Real Reports has the ability to do lead capture for you on both the buyer and the seller reports. This is something I recommend for a lot of people to do if they've got a listing, get a report on it, and use it to generate leads. I'll be going over how to do that later, but it's something to keep in mind. Also, I may be going pretty quick. I'm gonna try not to repeat myself too much because we are recording this. I'm gonna be putting a QR code up at the end to the YouTube channel that I upload all the videos. So if I go too fast or you just wanna reference it later, just snap that QR code real quick at the end, and when it's uploaded, you'll be able to watch the full recording. Okay, so when you're on Real Reports, this is what it looks like on your dashboard. It's gonna tell you how many new leads you've got, report views, and client reports. If you scroll down right here, you can see My Real Reports. And I'm just gonna open a random one. One thing to note on Real Reports, as with everything on the MLS, I highly recommend, please take the time to customize it. Get your professional photo there, put your broker logo, put a link to your personal website where they can see your other listings, a link to your website, social media, all of that. That's included in your Real Report, and that's what is shown to people when you send them your Real Report. So it's especially important when you're working with buyers to make sure your buyers have your information. They're not looking to other people for information, so make sure that's up to date. To do that, when you're on your dashboard, just go here under Account, then Profile. It's very simple. Give it your first name, last name, email address, phone number, NERDS, license, everything you can, please fill out, because this is getting shown to everyone you send a report to. You can upload a profile picture and a company logo, and you're all done with that profile section. If you move down a little bit, this is going to be your links. This is where you want to put your link to your website, your Facebook, your Instagram, your Twitter, every social media you have, fill out there. That way they can also go follow you on those platforms. You want to make one spot where they are following you everywhere. Especially since, again, the primary purpose of Real Reports is to share it with clients. RPR, Remind, those are great tools for you to have, but you aren't giving your RPR account to your clients. You're not giving your Remind account to your clients. Not to mention, they don't know how to use either of them. So if you can give them a Real Report that's a little simpler, they'll have a great tool and you'll be the source still. And you'll have all your branding on it, of course. Okay, back to Real Reports. Let's go ahead. We did this one earlier. It's currently on the MLS. All you need to run a Real Report is an address. Once you do that, tell it the level of report you're doing. We're going to do a snapshot here. And none of this is pre-generated. Every time you put an address in, it's going to generate a new report just for you. And just like that, we've got a real report done for that listing. We can share this, we can customize it, but let's go through and take a look at some of the information on it. Real Reports, like RPR, Zillow, every other real estate website, is going to try and give you a valuation. Remember, you're the professionals in this. All of this is AI generated, so it's good information to have, but it is not the final number. You're the pros here, not the computer. Moving down to climate, this is something that I had to learn a lot about when I started messing with Real Reports. How many of you are familiar with FEMA's risk factor map? We've got a few hands. So Real Reports gets all this climate risk information straight from FEMA. Now there are some things on here that look a little odd that I'm reaching out to FEMA directly for. For instance, the lightning hazard is unusually high in El Paso. Outside of that, take a look at it, and this is all straight from FEMA, so it's a great resource to kind of compile the information from multiple data sources. Going down, you can see historical disasters in El Paso County, flood data details, average daily weather, hazards, neighborhood information, both noise, walkability, how bikeable it is. Yes?
Reagan, do you happen to know what year of FEMA map you're pulling the data from?
It's from,
Several of our racers are still stuck on 2006, and there is a 2023 map that's been revised.
it's from the live data from the FEMA risk map.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it's on the latest data set.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you said that you can edit or adjust the reports, does that mean including removing these price ranges or market values, or do we just have to interject it like when the client?
Great question. You can, any section on here where you're like, you know what, this isn't really relevant to my client, you can take that section out completely. And I'll be going over that customization after we've gone through some of them. But a lot of these neighborhood scores like this are very nice, and most importantly, there's a notes button here that you can add your insights, corrections, anything like that. That if you've got a client that you've been working with for a while, you tend to know what they're looking for, what's important to them. So you can use this notes feature so when they're looking at the report, they've got all your notes there on how this affects them, what makes this a great property. It'll even give you information on the schools. And one really nice thing about Real Reports I really like is these question marks. it will typically give you the source for all this information. So nothing is hidden behind walls, anything like that. They'll give you the source for the information, because you know when your client sees something that they're like, I don't know, that doesn't feel right to me. They're gonna ask you, where's this from? And you can say, this is straight from FEMA. This is from this scoring website. That way you are the source of the source.
So on like the school stuff,
Mhm.
that's a very touchy subject. People say, I want a good school.
Yeah.
What's a good school? Is it a school where, engineering is a focus, or
Yep.
sports, or special education? So like, I always tell them, like, I want them, when I tell them up front, it's whatever is important to you makes it good, but just be aware that you need to go in there and really do your research.
Yeah.
Because, I can't guarantee that you're gonna be happy at this school in this area.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a great time to put notes on here, especially when you know one of the schools, their academic program is outstanding, but their sports is lagging behind. If they're looking for a great academic program and they don't care about the sports program, it's a great time to put in the notes before they even call you. They've got your information right there saying, hey, this school has an excellent academic program. It's a little behind on sports, but I know that's not super important to you. I think I saw another hand up over here. No? Okay, one of the other really nice things about it is it'll try and do estimates on utilities. This is great when you've got people who are like, well, what's the average energy cost look like in this neighborhood? Personally, I would have a lot of trouble finding that information out. But this is compiling all that public data for me, so I don't have to search the 15 houses they sent me that they wanted to see this weekend and find the energy usage for each one. So it's a great time saver there as well. And then one thing that's very important to a lot of people is this demographics info. You can see it's got demographics broken down by income, but a lot of people will also want to see, what about housing? How many units is there where there's four or more bedrooms? It's a studio, vacant houses. How many of them are owner occupied versus renter occupied? And this is a breakdown in the immediate area that will make a big difference to buyers looking for specific neighborhoods, so that they at least know the breakdown before they've moved in. And then, like most of them, there's some crime statistics here. It's gonna break it down by local, but you can also add a chart here for Texas. You can add a chart here for US. These are great tools to contextualize that the El Paso crime rate is completely separate from everywhere else, because we do tend to get a pretty bad rap nationally, despite a very good crime rate here. And same with arrest statistics. So all of that information I just went over is on that free snapshot report that you can pull for any listing you want. And on top of that, if you look on the right side, you've got this AI advisor. They call it Aiden. Aiden's really good because you can send it to your clients, you can use it yourself. And you can have it say, testing it, I was like, hey, give me a description of this property for Facebook. And it generated a Facebook post for me, one that quite frankly I would never make because there were a lot of emojis on there, but it's one I've seen on Facebook all the time. So if you're someone who's like, I really need to get into social media marketing, I don't know how to format it, I don't know where to find all the emojis, all that, have it do it for you. All it takes is one prompt saying, generate a Facebook post for me. At least in my experience. While that's loading, we had a question over here.
Can you send any of these graphics individually?
So you can remove any. So if you want to send only one, you could just remove everything but that one. Whoops, looks like I was echoing a little bit there. So the AI does generate a brand new post for you. Because it is a brand new generation, it does take a little bit of time, as you can see here. And it gets better the higher report tier you're at because it has more public information for the property. Let's see. Oh, this one doesn't have any documents. Let me see one of the other ones I've done earlier. Tony, am I buzzing in the back? No? Okay.
What do you mean by it doesn't have any documents?
So on the buyer and seller reports, and I'll go over that right now, you can input documents and the AI will scan the document to summarize it for you. The one I'm going to show here is an appraisal. I believe I have it under the buyer report. Let me see. And this is a brand new feature, so it still is in testing. And one thing I need to emphasize with all of you, please do not upload contracts, offers, anything like that without running it by your broker first. AI as a tool uses everything you give it in order to learn. So make sure your broker is okay with you using the tool and providing the documents to the AI before doing so. Okay, so here we've got an appraisal report. I mean, everyone's seen this, right? It's a residential appraisal report. Decently long, but when I uploaded it, I just told it, give me a summary, and it's going to summarize the entire report for me. We're working with them right now to get the TREC 1-to-4 contract working really well through there. It's having a little problem with forms from Zip Forms right now, but it's something that's improving as we work on it. And again, it learns from the data that's uploaded, so the more we use it, the better and faster it's going to get. So that's what I meant by the documents. Back to customizing it though. Anytime you're on a report, scroll up to the top and click these 3 dots. When you click there, you can hit order and visibility. This is going to let you rearrange stuff to whatever order you want, and it's also going to let you take stuff out. Say I don't want to share documents, property valuation, permits, or neighborhood. Just click those, and those will now be out of the report. You can see documents is fully gone now. If you've got anything on there that you disagree with, or you just don't have notes for, you don't think it's important, you want to make it a little easier for your clients, go through and take it out. Customize this to be the best tool that you want it to be, and it'll work great. Once you've got your report looking good, you can just click the share button right here, and sharing on is default. You can copy a link, that way you can generate an email yourself, you can copy the link, text it to them, however you want to share it. You can email it directly from Real Reports, or what I recommend for a lot of people to do is click QR code. It's going to generate a QR code right here that takes anyone who scans it straight to the Real Report. The important thing on this QR code is you can put that QR code on open house sign-in sheets, on flyers you're handing out for your listings, anything like that, that anyone can access your Real Report. So when a stranger scans that QR code, they're going to be taken to this report with your name, your contact information, a link to all your listings, your social media, all of that. And that by itself is pretty helpful.
Do we get their information?
That's where I'm about to go. So all that is nice on the snapshots, but the big thing that sold us on Real Reports is when you upgrade to buyer or seller, when you're hitting this share button, you can click this little button for lead capture. What that does, and I'm going to open this in a new window. So here's the report on that link we just generated. You can see right here, I had put some notes already for an open house. And in order for the person who's viewing the report to actually review it, they're gonna have to put their information here. So I put some information in there. It's going to welcome them to Real Reports, tell them what it is. Then they'll have full access to the report. They'll have access to the AI, where it's suggesting we ask about zoning details. So we'll go ahead and do that. Agree to use the AI. Then the AI is going to answer the questions about the property for them. Now, it may take a little bit of time to sync up, but if we go to our dashboard right here, we can hit lead activity, and we can see that link we just did. We've already got an email, phone number, what they did on the report, what question they had, and what address it was on. So if you've got a listing that you're handing out flyers, the moment someone signs up to view your report and is talking to that AI saying, hey, does this work great as a rental? What's in this area? You're getting notifications that Reagan Kestner is asking, does this work great as a rental? So then you have their contact information and you can reach out and say, hey, I'm Reagan. I'm the listing agent for this property. I saw you were curious about some information on it. You want to go do a showing. And that's how you can use it to generate more leads. So, any questions on that lead generation?
Yeah, so you said that we can do the QR code once we go into the purchase of buyer-seller. We have to purchase into buyer-seller.
So you can do a QR code off of either one. Off of any report, you can do the QR code. The lead generation, that is only through the buyer report and seller report.
That's where you pay for them.
Yes, yeah, and you get a 33% discount because we're integrated with them directly.
Is there a way to, instead of paying for each individual report, is there any way to get like a package deal?
Not currently. That was something we were looking at with them as well, but they haven't worked out a system for that because they also have to pay for each report they run. Yes.
But they have an upgrade subscription.
Mm-hmm.
It talks about $10 a month or $9 a month annually. What does that cover?
So everyone that's part of the MLS already has a subscription.
Okay.
So you can individually upgrade your subscription and they give you credits. But yeah, basically tokens you can turn in for them.
To run the report.
Exactly. But it's a monthly cost and yeah, or annual. And they haven't really clarified how that works with the GetBar subscription as well. Because I don't think you get the discount, the 33% discount on that.
No, I still at 40.
40% discount?
If you go annual.
Oh, yeah.
If you're monthly, it's 33% off.
Okay, so they fixed that then.
Yeah.
Yeah, because originally that wasn't working correctly.
So I see buyer and seller.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have for property management?
What do you mean?
Like these real reports that you have, like is there anything about rentals and the rental rates and comparable properties? Anything that I saw that, you know, the price ranges were around this, around my rental listing?
Yeah.
But it was to sell property. I'm trying to rent a property. So do you have anything like
No.
that covers that section?
Yeah, it's all of the pricing and everything is primarily for sales. Yeah. You can use the snapshot buyer and seller reports aren't necessarily limited to buyers and sellers. It's just the amount of information on each one. The seller report tends to have more stuff that sellers care about. The buyer report tends to have more stuff that buyers care about. But you can use either one for any of them. So even if you want to put a buyer report together and take off that pricing insights section, you can still use any of the information there for lead capture on rentals as well. Yes.
But you're saying anytime we do a report on this and we want a copy of it, we have to pay?
No, you can run a snapshot report for any listing at no cost. And you can share it with as many clients as you want at no cost.
Well, what did you say about, like Dropbox?
So the only ones that you would have to pay for is if you upgrade the report to a buyer or a seller report, and those are the ones that have the lead capture feature on them. Yeah. If you're not planning on using the lead capture, like I know some people will want to run these when their buyer says, hey, here's 6 listings I want to see this weekend. You can run a report on each of those 6 listings, share them the links, and it'll cost you nothing. Yes?
How many snapshots can you do it for free?
Unlimited. Yeah.
So when you-
Yes.
Can you run property reports for properties outside of us?
You can. I can't guarantee their accuracy though. It depends on the public information available outside of El Paso. So even in El Paso, we're still working with them to make sure they're using the right data sources, stuff like that. Since it's a brand new program, it is still building up. So outside of El Paso, I can't guarantee too much on what they do find. We had,
Can you please, tell us the question?
yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, she just asked if you can run a real report on property outside of El Paso. Then you had a question?
Yeah, so we get the snap, and so what is it that we get for the fee? What is it that is special?
Yeah. So let's go to the dashboard real quick. So anytime, also, you may notice on my dashboard now, we've got 1 new lead showing up on our dashboard and a couple more report views. So anytime you're on a report, we've got a snapshot report here. And you want to go, you know what? This is my listing. I want to put on lead capture, but what else am I getting out of it? When you hit this upgrade button, it'll show you all of the stuff you get from here. So all of this information is part of the snapshot upgrade to buyer. All of this information is part of the snapshot upgrade to seller. So seller is going to have everything in buyer plus a little more. And one of the big things that it's brand new, they're working on it, is that AI document analysis. So that's on buyer and seller reports. Did that answer your question a little more? Any other questions on that lead capture specifically? Yes.
How long does the QR code, how long would that particular website, link to that, to that report will stay there? For example, we have the house, listed, and we put it up there, and I'm just saying, for the lead generation. Will it stay there until I take it down, or?
Yeah, until the report is removed.
Okay, so.
Yeah.
So whatever it costs me, $10 or whatever it is for the report, it doesn't matter how many hits it gets. Of course, I'm exaggerating. But how many hits, and you get, 20% of that only.
Yeah.
Stay there, and it doesn't matter how many times the website is accessed by the public. It just costs you the same amount.
That's correct. So his question was, how long do those links stay up? If I generate a QR code, how long does it go to the report? The answer is it goes until the report is deleted or goes away. The reports last, there's no expiration on them. So if you delete the report, then it's gone. Otherwise, the QR code, URL, all of that will continue linking to it unless you go in and delete the report itself.
And are there any restrictions as to, let's say that I have a listing and I'm going to go ahead and advertise that listing through of that advertising will include that QR code. There are any restrictions if you use it in Instagram, Facebook, X, whatever it is that I can use it with? I have that right?
So, are there any restrictions on using this information in marketing? There's one restriction. This is MLS data, so you cannot use it with compensation on a multi-brokerage platform. Outside of that, use it on your flyers, use it on your social media posts. Take advantage of the lead capture on it. That way you can generate some leads from your posts. Any other questions? Okay. Last thing I want to go over just real briefly, and I think I had already removed it from this one. Oh, actually, I'm on the wrong one. And for anyone curious, you can run multiple real reports on the same property. This is really good if you want to customize the report some for a specific client, that you can have them have a custom view of it on snapshots. Okay, last thing I wanted to go over. This is a good in-person training to learn and get questions back and forth. If you're someone who you remember the general concept, but you need some details on where exactly did they click, how did they access, stuff like that. Number one, this whole training is being recorded. It should be up on YouTube. Number two, when you're on Real Reports, they've got an education hub right here. It needs to be fleshed out some, which is one of the reasons we're recording it, but it's a great place to see the introduction, see any upcoming webinars. They do one webinar a month, and see use cases, as well as upcoming features, frequently asked questions, stuff like that. And of course, if you need any support, their email address right there to get some support. So I'm gonna put up some links right here. There we go. Okay, so these are 3 QR codes for different things happening around here. Number one is the webinar. We've got an Outlook calendar set up with every webinar that vendors let us know about. You can see right now, when you go to it, the majority is RPR because they do 5 webinars a week. But take a look at it. I believe there's a Cloud CMA webinar happening tomorrow. Real Reports does one once a month. RPR, like I said, does 5 a week. Remine, I believe, has 3 events on there already. But that's going to be continuously updated as we get more webinars from vendors. So if you're someone who learns great from webinars, this is a great tool for you. Next up is the YouTube channel that I upload the MLS training recordings. So this is also the same place that a lot of you will see the videos on the MLS, where it's like how to determine where you can put compensation, the Texas Realtors legal forms class, stuff like that. Pretty much anything we put up on the MLS as a video is also hosted on the YouTube. So if you want to go back and see this class recording or one of the other ones we've been in, you can access it there. And last one, March 25th, we're doing another in-person training, this time on Remine. If you want to follow that link, you can register straight there. And it will be the same format, in person, come with questions, because Remine is a lot. Any questions before we break? Oh, and Tony has something to say.
So, we tried to slow this down, training, but I'm noticing too that, hey, it's normal. Some of us learn faster than others. So if you feel that maybe we might look at, or one day, maybe breaking it down to a section or one type, one function of it, and you feel like, man, it'd be easier for me because I need step by step, then then let us know. Because if that's something we might consider doing. But I don't want to, it's some learn faster than others, so I didn't want Reagan to just do a step-by-step one, and a lot of you are like, man, why are we spending so much time on this? I got it already, right? So we tried to separate the group, that's normal. That's in any education. You know, it's we're human beings, right? Some are going to learn. Some of us are very computer savvy. Some of us are not so. So that's something we do. Yes.
Just real quick, I think the prerequisite was to get your account going,
Yes.
right?
Correct.
Which includes your license number, especially like I need that like myself.
Mm-hmm.
And your company, something.
Yeah.
And then this and that, and then we're able to follow that. I think that's, the first one is just to set up,
Generalization.
to set up an account.
Yes.
To be ready for this class.
Right. Yeah, and I think he started that. Well, are you saying he didn't go over that enough, or he?
It's just too quick, I think.
Okay, so
Because
we can go back over that right now.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, and again, that's why I wanted to say with the speed.
I'm not saying, I'm just saying a suggestion for
Sure.
a later class, maybe that in itself could be a class, and then,
Well, but I think it's important right now because that's how you start. You can't do anything unless you know how to set yourself up.
That's where a lot of
So you can't even go to step 2. So
including myself, I'm
sure,
stuck on
that's okay. So I'm gonna have Reagan go over that part again. He'll go over that part again, you know, to help you guys. But that's why I tried to do it to a 1 hour, and then now you can start asking those detailed questions, and he can immediately go to just that part and show you. Okay, so we didn't want to spend 2 hours on going over all this stuff, and then you're still left with all these questions. Like, wait, there was so much information.
Correct.
I didn't understand this step.
We could break the
Yes.
class into different sections because there's a lot to it.
It is. So
Yeah.
let them go back to the beginning stage of how you set it all up, your M1 number and all that, your account, and then we'll go from there.
Including your profile picture.
Sure. That's right. Okay, no problem. All right. Ready to go.
Yeah, so real quick for anyone, especially people who walked in a little after we had started, to access Real Reports, you don't need to create a login, you don't need to create an account, anything like that. It's single sign-on through your MLS account. So you can go to elpasotx.com. If it'll load for me. Hit MLS member login. Mine's already logged in, so it'll take me straight through. Put in your login credentials, and it'll drop you onto this FBS launch page. This is the page we have as the MLS that links a lot of the integrations we have that are single sign-on. Yes.
I don't talk like you talk. I don't say this is the, you know, what page. It's where you start and you see the flags and that. You don't talk like you talk, so I don't even understand what you're saying. I understand this because I use it every day. I have no connection to what you're saying.
Okay. Is everyone familiar with this page?
Yes. That first page we look at.
Great. So click on Real Reports right there, and you're signed in. You don't need to make any accounts. All of that's taken care of by us on the back end. Once you,
Says too many requests. Strike it.
is it stopping you from logging in? Okay. Yeah, I think there's just too many people trying it right this moment. But all you'll have to do is when you're on that dashboard, click Real Reports, or click it from any listing. When you're on the listing report right here, click More, Real Reports right here. Or from the menu, scroll down to Products, and it's the second option there, Real Reports.
Something else to keep in mind. Remember, we have MLS support. So if you get stuck on something, you can pick up, send an email, or pick up the line and call us too. We can help you. You know, if you're stuck on something, we can help you through it.
Yes, sir, but in a way we're here in person
No,
so
I'm
that
saying,
we can have
but
them
what
work.
we need, I mean,
Some of us are visual, some of us are
Some of us are old.
old.
So that's okay. I'm just trying to say, you may not have an issue today, and you may have an issue out there, but also I want you to know we have support. You have somebody you can call. You don't necessarily have to go to the application.
Yeah, and just to clarify for everyone, we are done with Real Reports, but if you've got questions, you're welcome to stay. I'll be here, but you won't be missing anything new if you need to leave for an appointment, anything like that. Because I know we said 3:30 is when it was ending, and people make appointments pretty close. So, any other questions? Yes?
Can we create Real Reports on wellness
Yes, it'll only get public information if it's a listing that, and for anyone who didn't hear the question, can you make a real report? Okay. Can you make a real report based on information on a property that hasn't been listed yet? You can make a real report based on a property that hasn't been listed yet, but it will only be using public information. It won't include MLS information since it's never been in the MLS. You're welcome. Any other questions? Yes.
I cannot take my photo. Is it because I don't have a company logo?
It's because you are. Let's see. Yeah, it's because you need a company logo.
Okay. And then
Yeah, it's got the asterisk.
Then it'll
Yep, then it'll let you update.
And then on this is my advertising. It is keep comment.
Yeah.
Advertise on this, but on my documents. So would I be wanting to do something like this for leads or for where I have documents?
It's up to you on which one you want to use. Yeah.
And is it preferable to use a Gmail?
It should work with any account. Yahoo works, Gmail works, all of them should work fine. Yeah.
I just want to let you know it was a great class name for somebody that's
Good.
not tech savvy. It really was easy to follow.
Good.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
You're welcome.